disappear.
Yeah.
And Brad Treliving goes on as normal as a general manager. And
there's a new president
there's a new coach.
the company, right?
No, there's a president already. His name's Keith Pelly.
Right. So Keith Pelly hangs on to that spot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's it. And like, if that's the case and they go consistent, then there's a basketball guy too. Masai. Yeah. I don't know whether or not he keeps his president's job. Right. Like, again, if they're going to restructure, maybe now's the time to do it.
You know, I think it's really weird how hockey teams have created this president role above. The GM was the GM. He made all the decisions on trades forever. And then in the last few years, the president is now a hockey guy. President used to mean you dealt with the tickets and the marketing and all that stuff. And now it's it's the GM's supervisor.
And they got to evaluate that. Brendan Shanahan was one of the highest paid executives in the National Hockey League.
Right.
But to your point, where's the value of having a guy oversee a guy who's not making all the decisions on his own and has you to put a stamp of approval on it? Because let's face it, I mean, the buck stopped with Brendan Shanahan, whether it was Kyle Dubas, Lou Lamoriello, Babcock, or anybody else. Everything had to go through the guy that had the two hands on the wheel.
Buddy, when I was with the Marlies, we had games where Shanny would be sitting in there with the penalty kill with us and going, here's the rotation you guys are using. This guy's got to do, he was hands-on. He was around.
He was it.
Yeah.
He was it. And until he's gone, he's still it. Mm-hmm. But I don't know whether or not they want to pay big bucks for that anymore.
Right.
We should go, but it feels like we probably get some news on this somewhat soon, wouldn't you? If something's going to happen.
I believe that they won't let this go
too long.
Okay. I think by the end of the week, we should have some sort of understanding whether Brendan Shanahan is still a part of this or not.
Yeah, okay. Even if whatever their decision, there probably needs to be a statement of that decision, even if it's, hey, we've extended them, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, let's go.
All right, we'll take a quick break. When we return, Luke Fox, Leafs and NHL writer for Sportsnet.ca, will join us. He was at the rink. We'll get his thoughts on where the Leafs go from here. That more when we return to Real Kipper and Bourne. Welcome back to the program. Nick Kiprios, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. All right.
Hold on, quickly, before we've already been kept waiting too long. We yacked so long that first block. But I just wanted to say, a reminder to golf fans out there, Sportsnet and Muskoka Bay Resort have come together with an amazing contest. Text the word Muskoka to 590-590 for your chance to golf at one of Canada's top 10 ranked courses with a night in an incredible 3-bedroom villa for you and 3 friends. Just text the word Muskoka to 590-590 for your chance to win. Visit sportsnet.ca/590 contest for more details. Standard message and data rates may apply.
Good reading, Samuel.
Thank you, buddy.
Yep, that was well done.
Thank you.
All right, regular contributor to our show, does a terrific job all season long. Luke Fox will join us now. Luke, how are you, pal?
Doing pretty good.
Did you bother going down to locker room clean out? Or did you just look at your notes from last year?
I wasted the gas and put on a suit. Yeah, I went through the whole thing, lived Groundhog Day. So my 9th locker clean out in a row that they all blur together at this point, Nick.
So in saying that, what was the biggest takeaway that you had today?
It's tough. There were little things. I loved Matthew Nyes' response when someone brought up the term offer sheet, and he just, shot that down right away, saying how he believes his best chance to win is as a Maple Leaf, and that's why he's coming back. He didn't get into the term that he wanted, but I like how definitive he was about that. So I know there's some fans that we're worried about that. I think you can put that to rest. Mitch Marner continues to talk about his time as a Leaf in the past tense. I think we've all read the tea leaves there, and that ship has sailed. John Tavares said that he already talked to Berube and Treliving and had positive feedback and was optimistic about re-signing.
Yeah.
The trick there is, are we 100% sure that Treliving's coming back? They haven't set a date for the management press conference, which will be the last one we go to. And from what I'm hearing, they're still making decisions, and there could be changes way up top. So I think what's going to be even more interesting compared to what the players have to say, which is kind of like last day of school. You're not going to change your grade on the last day of school. Say some stuff, get out of there. I think what's more interesting is what happens above them.
Yeah, that is interesting. So there's not really a world, I don't think, where they just say, Brad Tree Living doesn't come back because of performance necessarily, so much as just like changes at the top could affect people. Is that my understanding there?
Yeah, I think for the most part, the performance was good. There's things on the fringes like, signing Yanni Hakanpää, and there's little things you can nitpick, but he completely remolded the decor. I really love the blue line. The Chris Tanev signing was a stroke of brilliance. And that was his top priority in free agency last year. Dealing with the core four, he was his hands were tied in the no move clauses. He improved the goaltending. The Leafs are going to go in with one of the cheapest, best goaltending tandems again next year. So he's done a lot of good things. I think it's more so the whole team is under new ownership in Rogers that calls the shots and doesn't have to go to a board or through Larry Tannenbaum anymore. And the fact that Shanahan's contract is up. And if you're making changes top down, I think it's a sense of everything's on the table.
Yeah, I just talking about, the decision on whether to keep Brendan or not, that's one thing. But to kind of wipe out Brendan and Tree Living and then leaving Berube to a new decision maker, to me, very seldom happens. Mm-hmm. So I believe if there is one change, for me, it would be Brendan without completely, and that might just be enough to eliminate that job title and keep Tree Living. And I think you're right. I think he hasn't had enough time. Like we're talking about a stretch of 10 years with Brendan Shanahan, but we're only talking a stretch of 2 for Tree Living. And we're all in agreement that the changes were changes for the better. They just happened too late under the Shana plan.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Nick. I think his performance has earned him another shot. And I feel like, yeah, he's been here 2 years, but it really only feels like 1 year that he got to make his stamp. 1 year with the coach he went and chose. 1 year with the blue line that he actually really likes. So I absolutely believe that he deserves another chance. I'm just saying the sense I'm getting is there could be a lot of changes, and maybe it's not him, maybe it's an assistant GM, but I feel like it might go beyond just Shanahan.
All right, well, that's going to be fascinating to keep an eye on. Something we didn't get to in the first hour was the goaltending. Anthony Stolarz, he had a concussion. Doesn't think it was the first puck is my understanding there. What did Stolarz have to say about his injury in the postseason?
Yeah, he was pretty adamant about that. Borny, he said, I've taken so many shots off the mask, and it was 45 minutes later. He was pretty clear that had nothing to do with it in his mind. And, it's his head. I trust him. But he also said that, Sam Bennett, ex-teammate of his, went to the same Stanley Cup parade as him. He said he didn't think it was malicious. He talked to him after, wished him luck. And he was even asked, how would you feel about these nasty guys, Bennett and Ekblad, free agents? How would you feel about them joining the Leafs next year? And he said he'd be fine with that. So,
everyone loves winning.
And it's actually a really smart way. Whether he believes it or not is another story, but it's a smart thing to say.
You're watching Luke Fox from the Leafs and Sportsnet.ca covering today's festivities down at Scotiabank Arena. Let me ask you something, just staying on the goaltending. Luke, were you